BIDPA e gopola dingwaga di le 30. Stanbic Bank Botswana e rola mofenyi wa sethopa se se etellang pele basadi mo kgaisano ya legae ya go tlhama dikago ya 2024. Moemedi wa Japan o keteka phenyo ya batabogi ba Botswana. Wetso madume phirimaning eno di go kopanya le nna Kudzani Nametso Mudala. Lephata la Botswana Institute for Development Analysis ba gopola ngwaga tse 30 ka ga tlase ga setshogo se se reng seabe le isago ya ditheo tsa dikakanyo mo lefatsheng le le fetogang ka bonako. Jaaka leloko le le ikemetseng le le tlhomilweng e le taelo ya ga Tautona ka 1995, BIDPA e tlhomile jaaka yone fela mo Botswana e itebagantseng le tshekatsheko ya melawana ya tlhabololo. Ebile ke moeteledipele mo go tlameleng ka dipatlisiso tsa melawana, tshekatsheko le kgakololo bogolosegolo mo pusong.
Let me get into what I believe and we believe we should do now. 1, we should diversify funding, both domestically and externally. We should extend our footprint into the SADC region and the continent. We should enhance our digital infrastructure. We should strengthen regional and global partnerships, and we should now get into a very purposeful and intentional process of tracking the impact of BIDPA policy work and knowledge, and strengthen our knowledge management at the institution. The new strategy articulates our vision as follows: to be the leading think tank in Africa, recognized for innovative, impactful research and its contribution to sustainable development. While the mission statement says we provide evidence-based socioeconomic policy advice and related capacity building, and our core values will remain both integrity, excellence, innovation, and inclusivity. Now, this strategy we reflected after a strong, well-done situational assessment. We have reflected on the challenges, identified the solutions, and believe that in addressing this, there are 7 imperatives that we must now focus on. The first one has to do with identity, perception, and positioning of the institution. We must enhance the visibility of BIDPA and gain more stakeholder trust. 2, we must focus on new research domains. Remember, during the documentary, you heard that it started off as strictly an economic institution, and then over time, it expanded and included a few other areas. But we realized today and have accepted and corrected this in our strategic plan, that for BIDPA not to have education and health as 2 research areas of focus is not serving the country well. And we must make sure that this is corrected. Then there should be the workforce transition. We should focus on getting the right skills, because after the strategy was drawn up, we also did an organizational review and came up with a structure that we believe can be the suitable one in leading us to this new BIDPA that we are trying to transform in.
Bokopano jo bo ne bo ikaeletse go kopanya bana le seabe ba ba maleba go buisana le seabe sa ditheo tsa dikakanyo mo go bopeng tlhabololo ya melawana. Tiragalo eno e tla ka nako e lefatshe la Botswana le batang go tsosolosa lenaneo la lone la tlhabololo ya melawana ka tsepamo mo melawaneng e ikaegileng ka bosupi jo bo tlhotlheletsang tlhabololo ya itsholelo le go atolosa ditšhono tsa baagi.
This is going to be a nightmare, but an opportunity. A nightmare because if you look at the cities, when people this come in, you're going to have pressure on education, on health, on infrastructure for movement of people. This is going to be a major. How are you factoring this in your planning? but also the climate change that we talked about earlier. Now, so these challenges can be looked at in 4 prisms. One, of course, persistent challenges where we still have uneven progress in the continent, limited domestic resource mobilization, slow domestication at the national level, particularly when we talk of Agenda 2063 and the rest, and dependence on external financing. Much of Africa is very much external resources driven. And you can see some of the challenges, particularly on multilateral.
Mo posolosong le ba Lesedi TV, mokaedi wa khuduthamaga wa BIDPA, Dr. Glorious Molokai, o rile dingwe tsa dikarolo tsa botlhokwa tsa bokopano jo di amileng di akaretsang go itsise melawana le go nonotsha bokgoni ka ditirelo tsa dipatlisiso tsa bogakolodi. Go akanya gape ka thulaganyo ya tlhabololo ya melawana ya setšhaba jaaka go tlhabolola le go atolosa ditshono tsa baagi go matlafatsa tshekatsheko ya melawana le bokgoni jwa tlhabololo mo lehatsheng.
I would really have wished that government is allocating more money to research and development. I would also have wished that our funding is more secure than it is at the moment. But now that the diamonds are not selling and the economy is not well diversified, we appreciate that we cannot hope for money from government which it doesn't have. That is why now we have to really look elsewhere to try and find that money. And this is where the partnerships also come in, so that we can fortify our human resource toolkit. I have the confidence, very high confidence, because unlike in the past, when this thing used to be just in pieces, now at least the people who have come into power, starting from the president, they have committed that they will really like to be informed by evidence. And secondly, they have put the challenge of implementation at the center of everything. Remember, in the past, it used to be assumed that implementation will just happen. Now it's acknowledged as a challenge that has to be addressed. I think that gives us hope about the future. Yeah.
You are an institution that is known for research and development.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think
Kgaisano ya legae e rayang legae ka Setswana e keteka boitshimoledi jwa mato a sa senyeng tikologo le a sa tureng. Ka letsholo leno, Stanbic Bank e tswelela ka go rotloetsa tlhabololo e tswelelang pele le kgolo e akaretsang botlhe. E bontsha boineelo jwa yone jwa go tlhamela baagi ba Botswana isago e botoka.
We celebrate a milestone of innovation, a shared vision of designing homes that are sustainable, inclusive, and proudly Botswana. This competition was born from our belief that a home is a foundation of growth and belonging. Setswana, Legae is a center of our family setup. At Stanbic Bank, we recognize the importance of a housing demand in Botswana, and our contribution is meant to contribute to the demand through this very initiative that enables and promotes sustainable housing. Stanbic Bank Botswana, in partnership with the Architectural and Design Council, sought to challenge creative minds, to reimagine what the future of living can look like in Botswana, one that is environmentally responsible, socially inclusive, and reflective of our collective identity. We are proud to have received remarkable entries from talented architects and designers who have showcased what is possible when innovation meets purpose, and each submission told a story of vision, functionality, and passion for community development. On behalf of Stanbic Bank Botswana, I would like to extend a heartfelt appreciation to our partners, our esteemed judges, and every participant who took part on this journey with us.
Abbreviation BKIO was derived from what we named the project. We named it Boagi ka Innovation Housing. I kind of forgot what the OST was for, but it was Boagi ka Innovation. So we took it upon ourselves to bring in the innovation and explore different materials that can help us with sustainability. So the design approach was that we are going to deviate a bit from our brick and mortar, which is something that is very common here, and explore the different materials that we can use to achieve this proposal. So when you look at the projected image, which is a 3D render from one of the prototypes that we are proposing, we are going to be using still frames. And with the still frames, we are proposing that the still frame takes the shell of the building, and then thereafter we close it with different panels from different materials that will be eco-friendly and also speak to the thermal comfort of the space. So with that, we are intending to have panels made from different materials. I think that's an initiative that also we would like to explore and get into to try and see what other materials we can use and possibly look at different regions and what they have to offer and get some of the materials from the plants that are within those regions and see how we can innovatively make them into materials that can be used for construction.
This competition also demonstrates the power of collaboration between the banking sector, the architectural profession, and community at large. We are here to create solutions for our people. We're here to find ways to design better housing and accommodate our communities in Botswana. So as the jury, we were guided by 10 principles. I'll just mention a few of them. It was critical that the design reflects how Botswana live. It was critical that the design speaks to sustainability in a very real and practical way. Some of the criteria that we looked at in the submissions were energy efficiency, material sustainability, cultural reflection, and also adaptability and cost was a big factor. We have also learned valuable lessons through this process, such that we need to open it up to students as well, to the greater community beyond the criteria that it was open for. We need to engage Botswana as well and educate them what sustainability means as well. It's quite critical in this day and age.
I'm with Ida. We are a group of 3 architects, Bosa, Ida, and Gifilwe, who won this sustainability architecture competition with Stanbic. So what motivated us to start this? As architects, we were concerned about the carbon emission in the built environment. So how do we reduce that? We decided to come up with strategies of how we can design housing that helps us to reduce that by coming up with passive design strategies for this housing. So what we did, we just wanted to have the orientation of the building be key to allow us to bring in light into the building, but also reducing heat for thermal comfort for occupants. This is important because it allows you to strategically select the types of building materials that you're going to build with, high thermal mass, and coming up with a modular system that allows you to work with a framework and paneling system that can be transported to all regions of Botswana. So in us doing that, we wanted to empower Botswana to be able to build affordable housing that allows them to reproduce the key resources of survival: food, energy, water. That's how we came up with this modular system that is also organically growing over time. So I think she can speak to the long-term impacts of how it can benefit Botswana across the country.
Bokopano jwa boraro jwa beke ya tshumarelo e butswe gompieno kwa Gaborone kgwedi ya Phalane e le 2021. Mmusakgoto wa Palamente Honorable Dithapelo ke o rapetse a re puso e tlhomamisa maitlamo a yone mo dikganyeng tse di tsamaelanang le lenaneo la SADV la 2026. A re phetogo ya seemo sa bosa ga se kgopolo mme ke kgwetlho e ya matshelo. A re puso e tshwanetse go itlama go kgweetsa ditharabololo tse dingwe tsa phetogo ya loapi.
The United Nations system, with its imperfections, still provides a viable platform to dialogue on numerous issues, including but not limited to environmental issues. So these are not isolated issues. These are national priorities fully aligned with Vision 2036, the Draft National Development Plan 12, and Agenda 2063, and Sustainable Development Goals. Friends, we must recognize that climate change is no longer a distant threat. And I might add that climate change is not a concept as some believe. It is a present and pressing development challenge impacting livelihoods, water security, agriculture, and energy. As we stand here today, there is a warning by meteorological services of possible floods. So that is why the government must be committed to strengthening coordinated structures that will drive climate and ESG priorities from the highest level of policy.
Una tlatsa ka gore dikgang tse di amanang le phetogo ya loapi di bata thato e nonofileng ya sepolotiki. Se buise se tseleditse ka gore kgatiso ya ESG le thuto ya green ke senotlolo mo go tlameng boswa le sebaka sa itsholelo e tala.
Advancing the climate agenda demands strong political will at the top echelon of government. Without the necessary policies and institutional commitment, we risk falling behind economically, environmentally, and diplomatically. And most investors around the world, when they think about, investing in clean energy, investing in environmental friendly initiatives, often because of how we are uncoordinated, how we don't have appropriate structures in place, they don't know who to talk to, they don't know where to go, they don't know which areas to invest in. That is why we need this political will.
Moemedi wa lefatshe la Japan kwa Botswana, Motlotegi Shindo Yusuke, o ne a tshwere moletlo kwa bonnong jwa gagwe kwa Gaborone go tlotlomatsa setlhopha sa Botswana go bo se dirile sentle thata mo dikgaisanong tsa mabelo tsa lefatshe ka bophara tsa 2025 tse di neng di tshwere kwa Tokyo, Japan.
Yes, Botswana athletes' achievements in Tokyo really highlighted Botswana in Japan. Japanese people generally, they don't know much about Botswana, but now people talking about Botswana, wondering what country it is. So I do hope that more and more Japanese will come to Botswana for business, for work or for tourism or for study. So I hope that this will strengthen, grassroots, people-to-people relationship between Japan and Botswana.
Tiragalo ena ine ya kopanya batlotlegi ba ba akaretsang tautona wa pele Latin General Sretsa Khama Ian Khama, bodiredi bogolo ba puso le baemedi ba metshameko go keteka go thuba rekoto ga setlhopha sa Botswana kwa dikgaisanong tsa lefatshe lotlhe tsa batabogi.
It's a great honor to be here. It's something that have been planned. We have been told long before. We're excited to really see what's going to come. Unfortunately, I wanted to learn a bit of Japanese, but it was a short frame. But I was happy to receive and be honored with by the Japanese ambassador and of Botswana, and it means a lot to the whole team, knowing that our work is not just it doesn't only touch the Botswana, it touches everybody who's in supportive of our country.
Motlotegi Jacob Kilebeng o ne a gatelela setlhopha sa Botswana ka boitshoko, tlotlo le maikemisetso a bone a supa fa ba beile setšhaba ka thata mo mmepeng wa lefatshe.
We celebrate Team Botswana, Colin Dinasipi, for attaining gold on the 400 meters and becoming the world's very best. We celebrate the relay team for their emphatic win in the 4x400 meter race. We celebrate Uya Kondori for attaining bronze in this race. We also celebrate the rest of you, Team Botswana. Ladies and gentlemen, the performance of Team Botswana as a World Athletics Championship did not only bring our country medals It has been a source of inspiration for all of us and has placed Botswana on the world map, showcasing our country's growing excellence in athletics and remarkable talent of our people.
O ne a gatelela gore katlego ya setlhopha se e supa pelo tse tswelelang ya Botswana le tirisano mmogo mo tlhabololeng ya metshameko mme a kopa makalana a puso le a ikemetseng ka nosi go tswelela go tshegetsa tlhotlheletso e. Tona Kelebeng o ne a tswelela ka go supa tsholofelo ya gore ka boineelo jo bo tswelelang metshameko e ka nna teemane ya itsholelo e e latelang ya Botswana.
This achievement has also been a moment of learning for us as a country. It is a reminder that all of us, that success is never accidental. It is the result of discipline, hard work, confidence in one's own abilities. It is also a result of investment in our people. As the Ministry of Sport and Arts, we are committed to growing the sporting sector to ensure it becomes one of the economic engine that drives the country forward.
Wetsudifelela farm, a in Boroko.